What is up, YouTube? This is Nanashi with another deck profile video. This time I'll be going back and taking another look at my light deck, the Digital Bug Light Insect deck. I've been going back and forth with the build on this one, because a couple of the tech choices that I made were working, then suddenly weren't working. It was just completely inconsistent. But I made a couple of adjustments, and I had a couple of my friends give me some really good suggestions, and even told me that one of my original ideas for the deck would work better than one of the ones that I had now. So I decided to revamp it. It's been doing a lot better, so let's see where this goes. Starting right off with the monsters, we have nothing but level 3s. Bocce Bocce Bocce, still at 3. Any Xyz monster using it as a material to summon gains Piercing. Digital Bug Cenobit, which is the first of the 3 digital bug monsters that we currently have, and I am so glad we finally had confirmation on the 4th. This one says that, well, actually all 3 of them have a common effect. They could only be used for the Xyz material of the Xyz summon of an insect-type monster. From there, their effects all become unique. This one's effect is that if it goes from attack to defense, doesn't matter how, you get to special summon a insect from your deck, level 3. And if it uses Xyz material for the summon of an Xyz monster, the Xyz monster gains the effect of, it can attack all defense position monsters your opponent controls once each. Cocoon Denser says that you can switch it from attack to defense to call a monster from your graveyard back to the field in defense mode. And if it's used for Xyz summon, it basically gets Armides effect when it attacks a defense monster. Web Solder probably has the best effect out of the 3. You can turn an attack position monster you control to defense to special summon a level 3 insect from your hand. And if it's used for the Xyz summon of an Xyz monster, all your opponent's monsters go to defense, and their defense becomes 0. I even went so far as to put in Electromagnetic Bagworm. Its effect is garbage. In all honesty, I can't even sugarcoat it. When it's flipped, you take control of a machine your opponent controls until your next stand phase, and if it's destroyed by battle, the monster that destroyed it loses 500 attack and defense. I really wish I could put a more positive spin on this, but the fact of the matter is, I've been getting a lot of positive feedback on this card as opposed to the Mirror Ladybug I was running. Then we move into the spell cards. Starting with the single Foolish Burial, this is literally just to get that Cocoon Denser's effect in the event that you have it first turn. Triple Inferno Reckless Summon, which works incredibly well with this deck. If you special summon a monster with 1500 attack or less, then you get to special summon as many copies of it as possible from your hand, deck, or grave. Of course, your opponent gets the same bonus, but in this deck, it doesn't matter. You can destroy pretty much anything they call. Level Limit Area B. People have been recommending this card for a good long while. I haven't been able to fit it into the deck until I simplified the build a little bit, and I now see what everybody was talking about, and I sincerely apologize to anybody who suggested I run this card, and I told them I wouldn't. I was wrong, you were right. Double MST, obviously. 7th one at 2 still, we all know why, and there's actually more of a reason now than I thought. And Triple Stumbling. All monsters summoned go to defense mode. Then we move into the trap lineups, which, as stated before, just like the rest of the deck, is really simple. Single Bottomless, Double Bug Emergency. Sorry, Triple Bug Emergency. My eyes are not working well. This card has actually saved me more than I ever thought it would, and this card is the reason the 7th one became more valuable. You target 2 level 3 insects in your grave and special summon them both, negating their effects. But if it's in the grave, you can banish an Xyz monster from your graveyard, and all the insects you control become the same level as that Xyz monster you banished. And you can only special summon insects for the rest of this turn, but what's important to note here is that if you banish the ranked up Xyz monster that I call out with 7th one, that means all the monsters become level 5. So if you top deck 7th one during your first turn, which I can't even lie, I do that a lot, and the Xyz monster goes to the grave, it doesn't mean that it's useless, because you can banish it as well as Bug Emergency to make your monsters level 5s. I wish there was a level 4 insect that I could put in here, but, you know, not much I can do. Call the Haunted for obvious reasons. I'd like to point out that if you chain this while Stumbling is out, and you happen to pull back a Cenobit, you get an extra summon from the deck. Triple Jar of Avarice. I feel sorry for myself for ever trying to take this card out, because I thought it wasn't necessary anymore. Now that, well, Mirror Ladybug's not in the main, but I was wrong, because I mill through my extra deck so efficiently, I need this card still. I'm actually thinking about putting in Transmigration Prophecy as well, just to keep these cards going. But, you know, for right now, it's great at 3, and I don't really see the point of putting anything else in. Target 5 cards in the grave, set the self, shuffle them into the deck, then draw a card. And Triple Zero Gravity. Change the battle positions of all face-up monsters on the field. Next we move into the side deck, which starts with the Triple Mirror Ladybug I was mentioning earlier. Don't get me wrong, I still love the card. I thought it was a great tech idea, and it may go back into the main later, but for right now, it's not necessary anymore, because Electromagnetic Bagworm, while not able to special summon itself, is a constant level 3, whereas this card is a dependent level 3. Triple Bug Matrix. The field spell itself is honestly just awful. It gets rid of excess insects in your hand, which is cool, but other than that, there's really no reason to run it. And I hate to say it, but I'm just going to keep it in the side or flat out remove it until we see what we get next in future sets. Double Dark Hole, the other level limit area B, Compulsory, 2 Fiendish Chain, Mirror Force, Torrential, and Vanities. And then we get into the extra deck, which is completely full. Triple Digital Bug Sciradiator and triple number 20 Giga Brilliant. We all know what Giga Brilliant does. You detach a material to boost all monsters you control by 300 permanently. Sciradiator, on the other hand, is a bit more fun. It is memory loss in monster form, which is why you don't see it in the deck right now. You double detach to turn a monster's battle position and negate its effects. Doesn't even matter what battle position it's starting in. Also, if it happens to kill something in battle, it absorbs it as a material. It doesn't work on pendulums because the card has to hit the graveyard, but still, this is fantastic because that means it loads itself up. I'd also like to point out that Sciradiator does not require specifically 2, it can be 2 or more, which is one of the reasons I love the card so much. You can load it up with as many materials as you feel is necessary. Then we get into the 102 Star Seraph Sentry and C102 Archfiend Seraph. 102 is just there strictly for Archfiend Seraph, and I run it at 2 because, well, I run it at 2 in every other deck, and I don't really have anything else to fill that gap. But no one really cares what 102 even does. It's C102 that really matters. If it would be destroyed, you can detach 2 materials from it to save it, and if it loses its last material, it does 1500 damage. But if it has 102 as a material, you can detach a material to reduce the attack of an opponent's monster to 0 and negate its effects, wherein activates its first effect of dealing 1500 damage when it loses its one and only material. If it's in the grave, you can banish it as well as Bug Emergency to make all your monsters level 5, which allows you to go right into your Corbage. I actually did not even notice that. I initially thought that the track card said it had to be an insect. I was wrong. Speaking of Corbage, it and Rhinoceros are the last triples in the extra deck. Both of them require 2 or more of their appropriate level, Corbage being 5 and Rhinoceros being 7. Now, Corbage's effect is that if a monster's battle position changes, it gains a material in the form of an insect monster in your own grave. And you can detach 1 material from it to send any defense position monster your opponent controls back to the deck. And it's a great card. Even if it changes itself, its own battle position, it gains the material. Rhinoceros, on the other hand, is the big destroyer of the deck, I guess you could say. You can detach a material to destroy all monsters who have the highest defense. And if there's more than one that has the highest defense, then you destroy them all. And that is the deck. The main point of this deck is to simply upgrade it, much like how you would upgrade a computer or another machine, by double detaching from the rank 3 to become a rank 5 by Corbage's effect, and double detaching from a rank 5 to go to a rank 7, much like with Rhinoceros' effect. And in all honesty, I love the deck. I'm not a huge fan of decks that only have one special type of summoning condition, but for what it does, it works. And if I can find ways to improve it, I'm going to do so. And if anybody out there has any ways I can possibly improve this deck further, please feel free to let me know. But in the meantime, this has been Nanashi, signing out.